Welcome to Doc's Daily Dose for Dads, prescribed by Dr. Harrison. So yesterday I posted a video about me being a guest on a podcast and a bottom line question being asked of what advice or what would you share with your father if you can go back in time. And I told you there was a second part to it. And the second part to it was the answer of one of the co-hosts of the podcast. This gentleman's name was Carl. Now, Carl had his turn to share his answer. And I won't go into too much detail because I want you to check out the other show, right? But essentially what Carl was saying was his dad had certain precious things, material things that he would do or use, and Carl wasn't allowed to touch them. And it created this wall, this barrier, this forbidden item, which he would then go and sneak and try to use. But it also disconnected some of the bond there a little bit. And that got me thinking about how I do the same thing, and I'm sure everyone here does, with some of their stuff, right? It's all about ownership. This is mine. I paid for it. I use it. It is something that I specifically wanted. I don't want anyone else touching it or messing it up, especially a young kid who doesn't know how to properly use it. And sometimes we can get pretty riled up about it. You know, leave my shit alone. Don't do that. Why are you even touching that? It's not yours. Am I touching your stuff? Like, leave my stuff alone. This does not belong to you. And I understand. I understand, one, the ownership factor. It's yours. It's precious to you. You don't want anyone else messing with it. I also understand the fact that maybe you do it too in hindsight, because in that moment you just don't want them touching your shit. But in hindsight you do it and you say, well, I'm trying to teach them to respect other people's property. And I agree. That's very, very important to do. They should respect other people's property. They should respect other people's space. And you can teach them that as well with having them to ask if they can use things, or having them to, hey, is it all right if I touch this? Can I play with this? Now, here's the thing though. What if they do that to you? You teach them properly, right? How to ask to use someone else's stuff. And they come to you and say, Dad, can I use your pool table? Dad, can I use your tools? Dad, can I use your podcasting and camcorder equipment? Well, if you taught them and they're asking appropriately, shouldn't you share? I'll let you think about that one. You're like, well, maybe, but it's still mine. Mine. Right? What's that Finding Nemo? Mine. Right? That's what you're thinking. It's mine. Yeah, you asked nicely and I appreciate that, but no, it's mine. But it made me go back to thinking about Carl, because I do this with my podcast stuff. I do this with my man cave studio garage that I, put together. Unless I'm in here, you don't belong here. Right? This is my spot. I don't want you messing it up. But if they're going to ask me, instead of saying no and shutting that down and creating that wall, that barrier, and having it be this forbidden area where they're going to sneak into anyways, because guess what? They're going through all your stuff anyways. I don't care how well you hide it. At some point, your kids find everything you have unless you've put it in a safe and they don't know the combination. Okay? So instead of saying no, what Carl's answer made me think about doing is approach this in a whole different way. I'm going to teach them how to use it properly. So, you want to hang out in my garage? Sure. Just know that, I want it put back the way it was, when you came in. I don't want you throwing, balls around in here, footballs and stuff, and breaking stuff, because there's valuable stuff. You want to use my podcast equipment, you want to use my camcorder and the lighting and all of that, I'll show you how to use it. How dope would that be if I showed them how to use it and on their own accord, they came up and being like, Dad, can we go in the garage and use some of the podcast stuff? And I'd be like, sure. And I'd come out 15, 20 minutes later and the boys have their own show going. They're talking their stuff, their topics. They're recording themselves, making little videos. I could have the next, Steven Spielberg. They could be creating the next serial podcast. Who knows? If they enjoy it and they want to be a part of it, why not let them and teach them how to use the equipment properly? or the toy or the priceless thing that you really, really love that's only priceless to you, really, right? Because at the end of the day, it's just stuff. My bond between my boys is more important than this crap. And I call it crap only in context to relation to my boys. Because if we take the boys out of the equation, this isn't crap to me. This is all stuff that I utilize every day, that I love, that allows me to express all the stuff I'm expressing to you every single day here on Doc's Daily Dose for Dads. But in relationship to my boys, it's crap. This shit doesn't mean anything. This stuff could fall apart tomorrow. Wouldn't mean a thing. But if my relationship with my child fell apart tomorrow, I'd be devastated. So stop being so greedy, so stingy, so selfish. Stop worrying about this idea of ownership, mine, mine, mine. Stop putting up that barrier between your kids. If you like it, of course they want to try it. Well, if dad likes it, it must be pretty cool. They think you're the coolest person on the planet, especially at a young age. So they want to be, interested in all the things you're interested in. They want to follow suit. Now, come to find out, they may use the equipment and be like, I don't know what dad really gets out of this. I'd rather just be in the garage watching TV. And that's fine too. But don't put up that wall. Don't be greedy and stingy and be all about this ownership. Instead of focusing on your priority to the thing you bought, focus on the priority of the relationship to the person you brought into this world. That's Doc's Daily Dose for Dads. Don't forget to hashtag Doc's Daily Dose for Dads, hashtag 4D, all social media at rebirthbx. Check out the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music. That's all going back up. Tomorrow will be the dropping of the first long format podcast. It's just going to be me for the first one. I got to do me. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my coffee and CBD oil, which, by the way, I'm going to start letting people know some of my fitness stuff, some of my fitness secrets, some of my health secrets, the CBD and coffee. We're going to add a page to the website for health and wellness, fitness and wellness, I think I want to call it maybe. So you can get some tips on that stuff too, because, I may not be in my old high school or college football playing shape, but I can still run your ass up and down that court or on that field. And if we roll on the mats, I got that too. So follow suit. All right, you guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow.